Back with another film room. All right. So I didn't see the second Nuggets game that was on a back-to-back. Or I guess we had a day's rest in between, but the second of the two Nuggets games we've had in the last 3 days. I watched the first game, and, Mavs kind of ran away with it. Again, there was nothing special there, no new looks or anything like that, but we won by 28 points. So, not really going to break that down. I did, however, miss the game last night, and when I got the notification that we lost, of course, I was not shocked, but I was a little surprised. I figured what I've been talking about kind of just came true, which seems to have happened. So we're going to go over the second half, mainly because in the third and fourth, we scored the least amount of points. We only scored 18 in the third. I'm going to also bring up the reason why I wanted to go over it as well was because I saw this tweet that kind of, just kind of re-encapsulates everything we've been talking about. And essentially, this guy here saying the Nuggets essentially doubled Luka the entire game, what I've been talking about. And so I wanted to go over it, and we're going to watch it live. I didn't watch any of the game. I was away out of town with family and whatnot, so I just didn't see it. This is just pathetic, right? And I've talked about this before, that if you as a coach cannot break a double team, I don't know what you're doing. I just don't understand. It's hard for me to fathom why kid cannot adjust to a simple double team. Now, I don't know how true this quote is, right? Maybe as we watch, it won't be as true as we think. But I'm just going to assume he watched the game and he saw, even if he's a casual or not, I don't know. But I'm going to assume he saw what we've been talking about. So I also real quick wanted to go over the minutes. I don't know what it is with Jason Kidd and Christian Wood, what the hell is going on there. But for Christian Wood to go for 2 of 3 from the field, snag you 7 rebounds in 17 minutes, get 2 assists. He only had 1 player foul, so he can't use fouls as an excuse. He only got 17 minutes. What the hell is going on? And in a game where it seems like you're struggling offensively, he's at least a big who can stretch the floor, right? It just makes no sense. Just looking at the box score here, it just makes no sense to me. I just don't get it. I'm almost at a loss with Jason Kidd. I've for anyone who's seen me argue on Twitter about Jason Kidd and they've disagreed with me, I hope they now can come back and say you were right, because I feel like I'm being proven right time and time again on Jason Kidd. Dorian Finney-Smith got 36 minutes. Finney and Bullock have been killing us as well. I don't know what to say about them. They're killing us offensively. Again, I've said in another video that I don't want to get rid of them. They are too valuable on the defensive end and kind of what they contribute kind of all around the floor. And, they are just, I don't know what it is about the shooting. There is a part of me that thinks because, defenses know that the Mavericks are not going to run anything creative, that essentially all the defense has to do is just close out on you on the perimeter in terms of them being spot-up three-point shooters, which is essentially all they are. And which is fine, right? It's totally fine to have guys who are just spot-up shooters, 3-and-D guys. Those guys are valuable in the league, but you have to hit your threes, right? And they're not doing that. And I don't know. I'm just I'm really frustrated with Kidd because, again, I'm going to say it again. I do not think this team is as bad as they have looked to the start of this season. I do want to trade Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm open to trading Powell, Maxey, and I would love to get rid of Bertans. But I don't want to trade. I don't want to. I'll trade McGee too. I don't want to trade Wood. I prefer not to trade Green, considering we're not paying him that much. And again, I said this on the Rockets film room that I wish Green would have got 25, 30 minutes. And I feel like I was proven right in this game. He got 30 minutes, 8 of 9 from the field, 6 of 7 from 3, 23 points, plus 13 in the box minus. He only got 2 rebounds, no assists, no steals, but that's fine. His athleticism makes a difference throughout the game all around the floor, offensively and defensively. So I feel like I was proven right on Green. He needs to get more minutes. If we're going to rest Luka, he should be out there 25-plus minutes. Let him log some big minutes. Let him get that feel for playing big-time minutes, whether it's against a scrub team or not. But McGee, Hardaway, Bertans got 14 minutes. Again, I said against the Houston game, let that guy go out there and play 15, 20 minutes. Let him throw the rock up there. Let him shoot the blood out that thing, as Allen Iverson used to say. And again, he got 15 points. He was plus 21 in the box score, And the best thing about letting Bertans play some minutes right now is it will build his trade value up. I think he has a horrible contract. I don't care if he goes 90% from 3 for the rest of the year. I just don't think he's worth that contract. Whew, sorry about that. What's so frustrating about Bertans, though, is that if this team was playing up to snuff, we wouldn't have much use for him in terms of him just being a 3 guy. Now, I think he is a better shooter, obviously, than Bullock and Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie. And maybe just from 3, he's probably better than Tim Hardaway Jr., but on a regular team, Bertans is not. I mean, he has a role if he's being paid the amount of money he should be paid, but he's getting paid way too much. So I like to. Of course, I want everyone on our team to do good, but even more so for Bertans, if he can do good, it will build his trade value up. If he can get a little hot, right now Finney, Bullock, and Tim Hardaway are struggling from the 3. Let him see if we can build up a little trade value for him and ship him off. He doesn't bring anything on the defensive end. He had 4 fouls again in 14 minutes, which is not good. Again, I'm not really worried about fouls. Let him foul out for all I care. But he was on fire last night. 4 of 5 from 3, 5 of 7 from the field, 15 points. He even got you 2 assists and a rebound. Throw that in there on top for good measure. Plus 21 in the box score. The thing I was going to say is that someone like Bertans on our team really shouldn't have that much of a role if Finney-Smith, Bullock, and Tim Hardaway Jr. are hitting their 3s. And because they've been struggling so much, Bertans has a little window here to get some playing time. And if he can come in and hit some 3s, I guess play him. I can't really argue with that. I'm not a big Bertans fan in terms of his contract. I like his game, right? He will miss 20 in a row, and he'll come down and he'll shoot number 21 the exact same. You got to, if you play basketball, you have to respect that a little bit. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not worth his contract so far. He went 0 for last night. 0 for 9. That's worse than Bullock or Finney-Smith just because, Bullock and Finney are just spot-up guys. And Tim Hardaway Jr. can put it on the floor a little bit more. He has got a little bit more of like a mid-range stop and pop kind of game too. So he's a little more polished on the offensive end overall compared to Bertans, Bullock, and Finney-Smith, but not by much, right? It'd be really nice to see him get going again and be a legitimate shooter and a bit of a threat, but I guess it's a little twofold. I don't think Kid's a good coach. I just don't. I just don't think he's good with the X's and O's. Full stop. No more to it. I just don't think he's a good coach. I'm going to specifically say X's and O's coach because, maybe he is a good ego manager or maybe he is a good styles and lineup coach, although I don't really buy that narrative either. I think Luka backpacked him to the Western Conference Finals last year, and he's getting way too much credit for that. And I'm also on record as saying, while perhaps Carlisle rubbed players the wrong way, maybe he's a little too demanding or the playbook's a little too big or it's hard to digest the kind of things he wants to run. I think Carlisle is a far superior coach to Jason Kidd. And the Pacers look okay right now. You know, the Pacers look like an okay team in the East. I mean, they might make the playoffs for all we know. And I just think, you know, a lot of people blame those Clippers losses on Carlisle. I don't quite see it like that. Mavs are going through a maturing process. I would say the lineups were even worse that Carlisle had the 2 years we played the Clippers. And he got us up in those series. And I know we quote-unquote blew it. I don't think that's all on Carlisle, right? I think simply the Clippers just had a better team, and it just showed out in the end. And again, Luka almost backpacked that team to a first-round series win against them, but it just wasn't in the cards, right? I just think in the end the Clippers were a better team, and Luka just probably wasn't to the maturity point of, you know, maybe feeling the game out a little more and getting a couple more wins like he did against Phoenix and Utah, etc. So, you know, again, I just saw this, and what stood out to me was Wood getting 17 minutes. You're going to tell me Bertans got 14 minutes and Wood only got 17 minutes? You're going to tell me Tim Hardaway Jr. got 21 minutes and Wood only got 17 minutes? McGee got 11 and Wood only 17. I can't buy that, man. And Green got 30 minutes off the bench. I just can't buy that, you know. And sometimes as a coach within the game, and this is going to be a long video, so, you know, we haven't even gotten to the second half of the Nuggets game yet. As a coach, you have to feel out during the game. This kind of goes back to I wish Luka would get guys involved earlier instead of later. So we can feel out who's having their night and who's not, right? And as a coach, you got to know, you know, okay, Finney-Smith and Bullock are kind of the same player in many ways. Finney-Smith is probably a little bit more athletic than Bullock. They're probably about the same as a shooter, even though Bullock's been having a bad year. But just overall, right, they are almost identical in many ways. And as a coach, right, I would almost every game be specifically looking at those two guys to say who's having a better night than the other. So I know perhaps as the game progresses, if we're not doing well, which guy I'm going to sit on the bench and perhaps throw out a Bertans and see if he can get something going. Who can Wood take more minutes from? Who can Green take more minutes from, etc. But again, I don't think Kidd thinks about that. I don't think Kidd thinks about much of anything other than just hoping his team's going to win. That's what it feels like. It's really irritating. You know, again, Dwight Powell, I don't understand why he only got 20 minutes. I feel like he could have maybe got a few more. But, you know, for all this talk, or at least in my opinion, Kidd's more of a styles and lineups coach. He's not even doing that well right now. And I'm really at a loss with what Kidd is doing or thinking, or the front office or what have you. You know, Hardy came up. It looks like Hardy was on the lineup this game. So, again, Mavericks are watching my videos. I'm just kidding a little bit. But, you know, Hardy's on the lineup now. Get him 5 minutes somewhere. You know, I don't understand how we're struggling with the Nuggets. And, you know, like sometimes as a coach, you got to make a gut call. And you got to say, this isn't working. We got to do something else. And to me, it feels like Kidd's just spinning his wheels, hoping eventually he'll get traction with the lineup, and that'll take us to victory. That's just not a very... You know, that's a very skin-deep way of kind of navigating your team through a game as a coach, in my opinion. All right, let's get to the game film. Sorry, Mavs are up 1 going into the third.
It is interesting, but impact. Now the thought is, does that actually have some sort of impact on what happens here?
The beat has to go on. Nice pass inside.
Well, Porter just blocked Powell. Powell got it back, and he's fouled.
This is the most funny. This is the first play out of the third. This is the most complex play set, most creative play set I've ever seen the Mavs run the entire season.
Now the thought is, does that actually...
So let's notice what's going on the backside here. Luka's going to set a back pick for Finney Smith. Bullock brought the ball up, which is a nice change. Luka's already down in the paint. Pal's going to come high to get the ball. Reggie's going to go pick away. So this is already, even though we lost, and I'm probably not going to like the rest of this game, why can't we do stuff like this more often? Again, I don't really like the spacing here. It's a little crowded. I would like to see Luka set this back pick all the way over in the corner on Finney Smith, and then have Bullock come over, and because that'll do one of two things when Bullock goes to set this pick on Luka. If he's more out on that corner, and Bullock comes, and the defender decides to duck underneath, Luka can pop out here to his little favorite spot here with a little bit of space between him and the defender and give him a little more room to work. But because again, this is all about spacing, right? Let's say Bullock goes to set this pick on Luka out here in the corner after he set the back pick for Finney. That also gives Finney more room, right? There's going to be, if you think about Luka and his man, Bullock and his man being more out here, when Finney comes back door, there's less hands and whatnot in the way. He's got more space to open up and catch the ball. And although I'm not saying, we don't really want Finney getting the ball in the post per se, but if he cuts right and the defense hesitates for a second, he's got a layup, right? So that will also give him more room. Lastly, if Bullock comes and sets this pick and the guy wants to come underneath, Luka pops out. If he wants to follow Luka over the top, they are in a very compromised situation. And Luka can essentially catch that ball on a curl going to the basket with some space, hopefully. So, again, I like this play set. This is better than what we've done in the past. But even then, like, if you get the spacing a little more right, again, I said one of my pet peeves is when and how you set picks and the ball handler letting the guy get set instead of taking off a second too early. Spacing's also a big part of it. If you set this pick over here in the corner instead of right here on the block, it's a totally different opened up atmosphere for the paint and Luka coming off the pick. Pal on the handoff. So Bullock, that's okay. I would almost like Bullock to shade out a little bit, pull his man with him because his man's kind of hanging out here in the paint. Dinwiddie is supposed to have set a pick on Finney Smith's man. Let's go back and watch that.
Does that actually have some sort of impact on what happens?
So again, I understand they're setting pick, but they're not really doing anything, right? And again, Dinwiddie should be setting this pick on the block, giving Finney more space when he comes out here to the wing. By setting the pick here, you now just have two Mavs standing in the corner doing nothing. Do you understand? Like, this is wasted space. Like, we're talking about the NBA here, right? Like, every little inch, every little thing you do has to be on point. It has to be, with authority, and it has to be with some urgency, and it has to be in the right spot. And Dinwiddie not getting this, again, I don't know exactly what the play call is, but as Finney Smith was coming off that pick,
Does that actually have?
Remember, if Luka sets his pick more out here and Finney Smith's able to roll with some more space, okay, either it's there or it's not, right? Once it's not there, if he doesn't get the ball, Dinwiddie should be setting this pick further down or further along the baseline and more on the block. Setting a pick right here, what is that doing? I don't, what is it, like Finney's going to come around here and catch the ball right behind Dinwiddie and shoot it? I don't think so. This pick needs to be down here. It'll also... Now, the big man doesn't really follow Finney Smith, right? They're going to switch on this. Again, by pushing this pick a little further down to the block, it's going to give Finney Smith a little more room and or just give him and Dinwiddie a little more space. And really, like, let's say someone starts driving to the lane, this big man has to help. Number 5 here can essentially guard both Dinwiddie and Finney Smith because they're not spaced out properly.
So the thought is, does that actually have some sort of impact on what happens here?
So Pal hands off. And again, this is one of the first lessons I teach younger kids, right? When you come off a pick, it is shoulder to shoulder. It is body to body on your teammate, right? You have to leave no space for that defender to sneak in and get in there and cut that lane off, or cut your drive off, or make you shade more outwards as you get the ball or as you're coming off the pick. It is supposed to be body to body, butt to butt, shoulder to shoulder, however you want to put it.
Now the thought is, does that actually have some sort of impact on what happens here?
I mean, Luka needs to be coming right off his shoulder, in my opinion. It should be a literal handoff, like a football handoff. Powell should be sticking it in his gut almost, as he comes around, and they should be rubbing shoulders. Now, by not rubbing shoulders and not coming off that edge, Luka has to as you can see here, as he's coming around, he's kind of shading outwards a little bit instead of coming around that pick and going straight towards the basket.
So the thought is, does that actually have some sort of impact on?
Now again, what I was saying earlier, if Bullock sets this pick more out here,
What happens here?
Bullock's man's going to be out here. And when Powell rolls, he'd have a much more wide open lane, correct? You got to think about it. Finney Smith was more over here when he set that pick, correct? He's more out here. He's not right here in the lane getting on Powell. Now, Luka, being the passer he was, looked away for a second, and he was able to get that to Powell. But the point is that Powell should have gotten this with this man not even here. Now, maybe everything I said is what Kid runs in practice, correct? But, again, this should have been an easy dunk for Powell coming around this pick. Had Bullock in the pick just simply been more spaced, more spread out, the middle of the lane would have been much more wide open.
Nice pass inside.
Well, Porter just blocked Powell. Powell got.
And that's just good hustle by Powell. But that was a good play. I like that play set. That is a much better play set than anything I have seen all year long. And it has a lot of wrinkles to it, as you noticed. Finney Smith coming off the back pick. Bullock popping out on the three. Finney Smith then coming around the pick from Dinwiddie here. Dinwiddie maybe, Dinwiddie could probably do something too, or some kind of wrinkle as well.
Nice pass inside.
Well, Porter just blocked.
That is a good, I like that play call. Why? I mean, I would run that 9 times out of 10 over the pick and roll. We get the ball out of Luka's hands. Again, Luka starting on the block. We can easily call some kind of dead call where we just say, hey, we like the matchup we got with Luka on the paint. We're not going to run the call. We're just going to give the ball to Luka. You can call that whatever you want. I'm just saying dead call is in like we're going to kill the play. Let's just get it into Luka on the post, Omaha or whatever.
Block Powell, and I'm sitting here. No, they're all sure about. Just brought the ball.
You saw it.
Porter.
Double pick and roll. See, this is what's so frustrating is Powell just got a great look underneath the basket, right? I mean, anyone running some kind of play set as an offense, if you can get Powell rolling to the basket underneath and you get him the ball like that, especially considering that in my opinion, he should have been even more open than he was. Luka kind of really needled a pass in there, which wasn't a great pass. And then we just go back to the double pick and roll at the top of the key. It is so frustrating. I would love to get inside Kid's mind, right? And if I had to guess, what this boils down to is that Kid just wants to get the ball into Luka's hands doing his thing. And I can understand that, right? But again, defenses are going to adapt. They are going to start making you not do that. So you have to give them different looks. You have to try something else. You have 4 other guys on the court. They're NBA players. And although our spot-up shooters have been struggling and Powell's not exactly Shaquille O'Neal or anything, like they're NBA players. Your job as a coach is to get the ball to them playing to their strengths and spots. I mean, that is almost 90% of coaching and offense. And he just did it really well that last play, and then we just go back to this. Dinwiddie, Finney Smith standing in the corner, doing nothing, a simple double pick and roll at the top that any defense, any kid who's been playing basketball, who's now in the NBA, right, essentially been playing ball their whole life, has seen this 10 million times, right? And why we just go right back to it as if like we ran one play, now let's do this. It's just you're not really making the defense think again, you know? They're going to see this coming from the beginning, and everyone knows what's going on. This guy's already fallen to sag. This guy's already fallen to sag. We got a double pick and roll. Let's see what they do. So it looks like they're just going to stick with the double because, again, these two guys, you got a guy standing in the corner. That's a very hard pass, even for Luka, and even once it gets there, right? This goes back to why our shooters are struggling. Even if it got there in a good manner, an efficient pass, any amount of NBA players are going to be able to close out on that. And I think that's one of the reasons Finney-Smith and Bullock are struggling is as much as we would like to think they're getting the ball open, they're not as open as you probably think. And they're not going to put it on the floor very often. And so closing out on them is not that hard, especially when the defense knows what's coming. They know Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith aren't moving, essentially, right? They know that they can turn their head, right? Your main thing as a defender is you can't turn your head and lose sight of the ball or the man or. You have to keep your sight on both, right? That's one of the first things you learn as a defense. You know, nobody is watching Dinwiddie right now because there's no respect. They know he's not going anywhere. He simply is there for spacing. And as soon as they see that ball go over to him, it's just a matter of turning and closing the space. They're not really worried about him cutting back door or anything like that. Now, me as a player, right, like, you know, someone who wasn't very athletic and anything like that, I was looking for all the weaknesses I could ever find. As soon as my defender ever turned their head, I was gone. Like, I was to the basket, I was cutting, I was moving around, I was getting them lost. I was trying to at least move so that when they turned around back to find me, I wasn't there. And it's all of a sudden they're having to hurry to try and find out where I am. We don't even do that. You know what I mean? We're not making them pay. We're not doing the little things that keeps a defense honest.
Ford is 0 for 3 on threes tonight.
So again, they're going to double Luka. That's essentially what they did.
5 for 5 on twos.
See how easy of a closeout that is, though, even though they were totally beat, completely beat. I mean, look how open Bullock is. Closeout. This guy, you know, it's the game plan with the Mavericks. If I'm a defensive coach playing the Mavericks, it looks like double Luka, close out on the shooters. Essentially what we did to Phoenix last year in the playoffs. You know, double Luka, run out to the shooters, run them off the three-point line. That's it. That's really it. I mean, that's about probably 90% of what defensive coaches are saying about the Mavericks, if I had to guess. And the way they play defense, the way they leave guys open, the way that they are so focused on Luka, it seems like that's what they're doing. So again, close out, make him put it on the floor. Now Dinwiddie's okay putting it on the floor. I'm okay with that. It's okay. That's a decent look. I mean, most of the time though, our guys are not pulling up for mid-range shots, which I also don't like. There's a lot of times when like Finney-Smith or Powell or Green or even Dinwiddie kind of get into the middle of the lane and they don't kind of just shoot a little floater or like a 15-foot pull-up. We need to start doing that more. I know the mid-range is kind of the lost art of the game, and with analytics, a lot of people don't do that, you know, very much, or don't do that a whole lot, you know, very, very often anymore. That's an okay look. I can live with guys shooting 15-footers as NBA players, right? They should be able to hit that 50% of the time, if not more, if they're that open. And again, let them run you off the three-point line, and you know, take a dribble or two in. At the very minimum, we have a 15-footer. If another guy comes out to help you, we have a guy open somewhere. It's your job to find him.
No, that whole thing.
And by the way, the way that we set off-ball screens like this, I'm not really counting as an improvement or much creativity on kids' part. I want to see off-ball screens like in the second layer of our offense, not just simply kind of setting, which wasn't even really a pick. It's really just Dinwiddie flashing up. It's not much of a pick.
Has put an imprint on the game. Now,
so not much there so far.
how long it's going to let?
Just a pick and roll now. Finney hasn't moved. Dinwiddie goes to the corner. Bullock rotates up a little bit. They're doubling Luka. Again, what did I say a second ago? Even if this man is open on the other side of the floor and Luka's able to get a good pass to him, which he just did, run him off the three-point line. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, Luka over to Dinwiddie. Late clock situation this time. Caldwell Pope didn't over-aggressively close out. Dinwiddie.
God. My basketball IQ is off the charts. The Mavs need to call me right now and hire me as an offensive play caller.
No good. For Denver, Jordan picks it up.
I'm joking a little bit, obviously, but I mean, I would say in terms of like an offense and running an offense and things like that, like I'm not a stooge. I would say that I'm not a casual. Like I know what I'm saying. I know what people are looking at against the Mavericks because Kid is not making them do anything else. Double Luka, run the guys off the three-point line. That's it. That's literally all you have to do against the Mavs the whole season.
Denver makes a half-court.
He came over to break for Dallas.
And Denver makes a half-court.
Okay, so, I wouldn't call so far what they've done like a hard double, but they definitely have the big man definitely shading Luka, if not doubling him, right? That's what they've done now. This looks like the third time in a row. They're going to have the guy come off the top and chase Luka, and the big man's going to shade Luka. Everyone's going to sag in, and once Luka makes the pass, it's just a matter of getting to the three-point line and running him off the court while we recover, and we get our rotations back.
Shot, but Brown missed. Is the easiest shot attempt they've had tonight. Luka.
Okay.
Into this nonsense for the baskets.
I think also if you're Denver, right, I think they're playing the game, again, if you're going to kind of shade Luka and whatnot and Luka beats you as a Denver Nugget player, you'll kind of live with that, right? If Luka has to beat a double team or something of that nature, you'll live with that. Just want to look at this one more time. So this is what I was saying where it's not quite like a hard double. They're kind of more shading. Now, the last two times, DeAndre Jordan's been a little harder. He's kind of met Luka more out here on the three-point line. This time he kind of is shading him and falling back. I'm not sure what the difference is, what they're looking for, but maybe it's just a feel on DeAndre Jordan's part. Maybe he thinks his guy is going to recover faster, or maybe I'm not sure why Jordan is sagging so much this time.
Misses the easiest shot.
But yeah, that Luka did what he did. He comes around that pick. If you're gonna sag and let him get all the way there, yeah, I mean, just go. That's just Luka just taking what the defense is giving him.
Remember for 21, and that time with Dallas that year, but he's struggling this year. Yeah, 9 for 21.
Not a good free throw shooter, period.
No good.
You know, that's not a terrible. You know, I also kind of like that Bullock came up here and gave Luka a pick, get Luka free, running down the court a little bit. Again, this is probably just Bullock just playing in the moment. I'm sure, I'm almost positive Kid didn't say, let's try to get Luka some picks at half court, bringing the ball up, just to see if we can, get his vision open on the floor without someone on him, and let's see what we can get. And if it's not there, we can still run our play set. I think Bullock here, again, this is where there's a lot of things that the Mavs do that I don't think Jason Kidd is calling, that I think is almost out of some frustration and desperation. And this is good IQ by Bullock, right? Bullock's probably thinking, here we go again. We've got nothing to run or offer or to play against this defense. I'm gonna get Luka a pick at half court and see if I can just get him some room, right? Get some pressure off Luka. I think this is probably just totally Bullock playing in the moment, which I like. It's a good idea by Bullock.
Yeah, 9 for 21.
And I'm totally okay. Again, I'm gonna stick with Bullock. I am totally okay being this open, catching it in rhythm, coming up to the 3-point line, and shooting that. I can live with this. It's not exactly my favorite thing, but I can live with this. Because here's the thing. Here's the bottom line. Luka cannot win a championship by himself, right? No one ever has. No one ever will, just about. And so guys are going to have to start hitting shots. I mean, there's no way around it.
Jordan may not be a good free throw shooter, but he's 40th in NBA, way up ahead. Oh, Porter, way off target on a three. And way up ahead. Oh,
Nice pass by Finney. Also, a thing I'd said, Mavs are one of the worst transition teams. We just don't fast break that often because Luka's not much of a fast break ball handler, right? He's more of a come down, get in his spot or get his rhythm going and kind of work you a little bit in the half. He's much more of a half-court set offensive player. So the Mavs don't really run a lot of transition. That was a great pass by Finney-Smith, a little touch pass there to Powell. And one of the things about Powell is he's an athletic big man. And, you know, so us playing in the half-court set a lot more often probably doesn't really play to some of his strengths. Same thing with Green, some of these more athletic guys. You know, getting those guys in transition, I would like to see that a little more often. You know, I know Tim Hardaway's not the best example, but even Tim Hardaway and Green and Powell, if they're on the floor and those guys get the ball, you know, turn up court and just go for a second and see if there's something there. You know, just nothing fancy. Keep it vanilla. My sophomore coach used to always say, keep it vanilla. We don't, you know, we're not looking for cookies and cream. We're not looking for any like fancy flavor of ice cream. Don't throw behind the back pass when a bounce pass will do, right? Just keep it vanilla. Like, you guys, I trust you at least to go up the court as NBA players. If there's something there to take advantage of, do it. If the lob is there for Powell, do it. If Green's got a breakaway, do it. Anything that we can do to get easy buckets and get some pressure off Luka, we need to be looking for that. And when it comes to Powell and Green and their athleticism, I think they would favor, or it would help them and us to every once in a while, you know, if Luka doesn't come down with the rebound or something, it's okay to push it for a second or two just to see if something is there. That was just good ball movement by Luka and a great touch pass by Finney.
Heads up play.
Does Dwight Powell have that shiner from when he got hit by Kenyon Martin Jr.?
All right, double pick again. This is nothing fancy. There you go. That's, and I've said it all game. Powell is not, Dinwiddie's not a ball handler, but he is kind of a slasher. He needs to be aggressive. If he gets the mismatch, he needs to go. If he thinks he has a shot, he needs to shoot. Other than that, he needs to give the ball back up to Luka or something. So I like that. Coming down the court, double pick, coming off the edge, and just go. And it worked out, and that's what Dinwiddie needs to be. Dinwiddie needs to be a guy, like, if the ball's in his hands, he needs to either be shooting it or going to the hole or passing it within the first second or two. I mean, quite literally. That's what I would be telling him, that, you know, unless you have the ball and we're kind of waiting for something to develop or whatnot, okay, that's one thing. But in a situation like that, you come off that pick, and it's either attack, shoot, or if it's not there, you need to get the ball up and we need to run our offense.
That's a first missed two-point shot for Porter in the game. Porter's got 10 points. Luka and Powell in the game.
So again, just, man, is this getting old? Is this getting old to you guys? Because it's really getting old to me. Again, pick and roll. Here we go.
Porter's got 10 points. Luka and Powell in the pick and roll. Cross-court pass.
See, again, just all it is with the rest of the Mavericks, besides maybe Dinwiddie and a roll to the basket by Powell, is just, you know, just run them off the three-point line, and no one else is really a threat. I mean, that's really it.
Dorian Finney-Smith. Luka and Powell in the game. Porter's got 10 points.
Simple pick and roll.
Luka and Powell in the pick and roll.
Again, run Finney off the three because no one else is going to do anything.
Cross-court pass to Dorian Finney-Smith.
Pick and roll. ISO. Shade Luka. That is a tough shot. And one thing Luka needs to start doing or stop doing is he needs to stop complaining to the refs. You know, I mentioned this with Dirk. Dirk did that a lot when he first came over and he was starting to get that all-star notoriety, and he thought maybe he deserved some more calls than he did. And there's a clip of him somewhere essentially saying, you know, that his game and his toughness changed a lot when he stopped complaining to the refs. His mindset changed a lot when he stopped complaining to the refs. And for anyone who knows Dirk's career, you know, there was a time there when he complained a lot, and then he just said, all right, you know, screw that, just play. And, you know, he started going to the hole a little more. He'd get a little bit more of a back-to-the-basket post-up game. He got a little tougher, right? His game evolved a little bit. And I think Luka, I'm hoping Luka goes through that this year. I wouldn't quite call Luka a flopper. I don't think that's the right term because he is a physical player. He is a bit of an actor, though, if that can be a little difference in between like a flopper and someone who's trying to entice the call, if that makes sense.
Good. Luka thought he was fouled. Here comes Bruce Brown. It's 4-on-4 right now. Luka and Jordan getting back on the play.
Nice steal by Bullock.
Reggie wait for some support, and there it is. So bad. Luka to Finney Smith.
That's okay. Again, you know, I know they have not been hitting their shots, but if Bullock and Finney Smith can get wide open looks like that, we have to take them. Like, we have to take them. These guys have to start getting on a roll. These guys have to start hitting some shots. So, again, you know, I know a lot of people are upset. They will come around. It's just the law of averages, right? It's just the way it is. And, you know, open threes like that in transition, if the layup or the dunk is not there, I'm okay with that. I can live with that. And again, Bullock coming up with a steal. You know, Bullock and Finney Smith are invaluable on the defensive end, even if they've been struggling on both ends a little bit, or some people kind of say they are.
Green Bertans lit the world on fire. DeAndre Jordan managed to go, but pretty hard.
I apologize. Just
The Mavericks lead by look. I'm not even sure. The explanation. Well, Zeke not. I don't know if it's sweeping the nation. Maybe that's make a three.
Double pick. Again, this is another thing teams are going to start doing. They're going to start picking up on that behind the back pass that Luka keeps picking up. Against the Clippers, John Wall almost did it once. You know, if they've got someone who's not someone like a DeAndre Jordan right here, if I'm a defensive coach, I'm telling this guy, hey, every once in a while when we get Luka to shade to one side or the other, and that guy pops up right here, there's going to be an opportunity for some cookies right there, and you need to go get it and go dunk it on the other end. They're going to start picking up on that too. Mark my words. Some of the other teams are going to start saying, hey, whenever we go to double Luka, he's going to come over here and he's going to throw that little behind the back pass. You know, you right here, you know, even DeAndre Jordan, if he was ready for it, maybe could have made that pass. And again, if DeAndre Jordan comes here, Luka's going to look here. This guy can step up and make that, even if he tries to dump it down to Powell, that's where he needs to be as well.
But he does make a three.
Again, I don't like two guys setting a pick. And the reason I don't like it also, like, you know, if you can imagine just Powell setting this pick without Bullock here, here's the thing. DeAndre Jordan now is going to fall back because there's already two guys here on Luka. That's what they're trying to do. That's the main scheme of the defense, as we've seen. So he's going to fall back. Had it been just Powell to come and set this pick, again, DeAndre Jordan's going to be the one shading. Powell's going to be wide open again here in the middle, like I keep saying all in all these videos, and I'm going to keep saying it. This is where the double team has to get exploited and beaten, and we're just not doing that. And the few times we have done it and the pass has been made, we've beaten the defense almost every time, or at least we've gotten a good look.
Denver back in front.
Standing around, run Finney, Dinwiddie, and Bullock off the three. Don't let them get a three off.
The drive. Stumbled.
10 seconds. What do we do? What do we do? Just another pick and roll. Okay.
9 seconds left on the shot clock.
You also have to understand, like with, I know I interrupt a lot, but there's just so much in all of these videos if you want to break down film. Luka's going to get frustrated. I know he's been frustrated already, and he will continue to be frustrated if this is what he has to do every single time. Do you understand? Like, the entire defense, this guy, are all queued up on Luka. Do you understand? Because, again, like I said, as a defender, your job is to see ball and see man. They're not even doing that. They're just seeing the ball with Luka because that's all they have to worry about. and they know roughly where their man is, right? Because none of the Mavericks ever move. No one ever moves, no motion, no rotation, no back picks, no back cuts. Nobody ever moves. So all you have to do is keep your eye on the best player with the ball. This guy's going to essentially not let Luka drive and try to get a hand up on a three. If he does drive, someone immediately is going to come help, and everyone else knows what to do. Just run the other guys off the free throw line. I mean, off the three-point line. Again, that's twice Luka's fallen on a three-pointer trying to get the call. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that, man. Like, and you know, this is a lot of, like, in my opinion, kid not getting our guys in the right spots. This is like an avalanche kind of coming down the mountain, and I think Luka is smart enough to know that this team is not creating any offense, right? And he feels like he has to get the call. He's got to try and hit some big shots. There's just so much pressure on Luka's shoulders right now. Not that he can't necessarily handle it, but I think Luka is trying to do too much in terms of he's trying to, you know, again, I'm trying to get a call. I'm trying to get the refs on my side. I'm trying to hit these crazy shots. I can feel his frustration that, you know, he just has no outlets to go to. There's nothing for him to turn to except for him just trying to do everything. And he doesn't, you know, not getting back on defense. I don't think that's a good look for Luka either.
You're not a member of the clock, but by rule, any shot that's made at the
All right, Luka's in the corner. Powell, Bullock are here at the free throw line. Dinwiddie's bringing the ball up. I'm guessing Finney Smith's over here in the corner.
expiration of the clock is reviewed, and then when you go to review, you can check all.
So this is roughly that same play, a little different in terms of no one started out here on the block and then set a pick. Essentially, we just did a handoff to Powell, and we're going to go set a double pick away on Luka.
Those things, whether or not
Okay, Dinwiddie cut instead of setting a pick.
it was off in time.
Just want to look at this one more time. This is kind of what New Orleans did to us in that game. If you go back and watch that, they had a nice little play where they had their big man come out, and then they'd go set a pick for C.J. McCollum, and he'd come over and get the handoff from the big man, and they'd make the Mavs play defense that way. This is kind of the same thing. Again, what I don't like about this is Dinwiddie's cutting down the middle. 5 is going to clog the lane with him. This pick should be made out here in the corner. And again, when you're so far away, you're making the defense cover more space. Let's say, again, Dinwiddie, let's back this up just a little bit.
Not just the clock, but by rule, any shot that's made at the expiration of the clock is reviewed.
That's a useless pick. That is an absolutely useless pick. It's not doing anything. I would have just had Bullock come down this side of the floor and go set a pick for Luka. All this is doing is just clogging the middle of the floor, and just a totally worthless play.
And then when you go to review, you can check.
The reason I also say that is what I would have had done is I would have had Dinwiddie bring the ball, either Powell just flash and get the ball, or Dinwiddie come over here and Powell and him do like a little handoff with Powell over here and get Dinwiddie and Finney Smith kind of moving along and then through the baseline. Maybe Finney runs baseline or something. Or bring them over here to clear up this space over here for Luka, and I'm going to show you why. Now, if Finney sets this pick, or Bullock, sorry, if Bullock sets this pick more over in the corner, correct? Again, it's the same thing. If he wants to run under, Luka can pop out, and he's got a lot more room to operate. If he wants to chase Luka, again, if he wants to chase Luka over the top, Luka can now come over the top and start rolling to the basket. And with that will also come things that open up with different looks because, again, everyone's paying attention to Luka. If Luka comes over the top with the guy chasing him and he starts rolling to the basket, you know, guys are going to pay attention and crash. Finney could be open for a three or something of that nature, Dinwiddie, what have you. And this is just horrible spacing. This is just bad. Luka, and now I think the play is for Luka to come get the handoff, but this is about wrinkles in that if you see something within this play we're trying to do, you as an offense should immediately know that that's what we're looking for. And so with Dinwiddie clogging up the lane here, you can't really do what I'm talking about. But again, this guy comes over the top, a perfect opportunity for Luka to get the ball almost at the free throw line, extended corner of the free throw line, or for a little dump down as he comes over the top and rolls to the basket, which is a much better spot to get Luka the ball than what's probably about to happen.
Whether or not it was off in time. Shot clock is a factor in it.
See, that's a... It looks open, but you have to realize these are NBA athletes. They're all 6'6", 6'7", and, you know, they've got, you know, 75-inch wingspans. This also comes about coming off picks, right? Like I said, shoulder to shoulder. See, I know this doesn't seem like a lot, but this little space right here, Powell should be really coming off of DeAndre's shoulders. And instead, he kind of flares out just a little bit, which lets this guy get a hand in there. 5 also not playing good defense. He should have been right here to stop that. Let's see what Dinwiddie does. See, again, this is almost just like that other play. These guys are going to come out here, and they're not making these guys do anything. If I was 22, I never would have even... I just would have taken a step here and let 5 go out here and guard both of these guys at the same time. Now, Denver has seen this play once. They know this is coming. Luka's going to try and do the same thing, and this time it's not going to work. Remember, even last time he had to needle in a pass, right? He had to needle in this great, amazing pass. He literally, one thing Luka does too much that I don't like also is he jumps a lot in the air to pass without fully knowing if someone's open or not, which he gets away with a lot just because he's a wizard at passing. But Luka last time jumped up, right, and he looked away and then he made the pass. They're not going to fall for that, you know, too many more times. And I think he tries to do it here. He's trying to look him off to Bullock, but he's saying I've seen this once before. He doesn't bite at all.
At the expiration of the clock is reviewed, and then when you go to review, you can check all those things, whether or not it was off in time, if the shot clock is a factor in it for some strange reason.
That is a hell of a grab by Finney and a hell of a kick out. Very nice. You have to understand, plays like that are, you know, when you're struggling, plays like that feel like a lot. Plays like that with Powell and the putback, those should be little cherries on top that you get when you get a good look off or you've been running good offense and one of your shots doesn't go in. Those kind of plays need to be cherries on top. If plays like that are part of you producing offense, we're down by 5 now, 67-62 after he makes that shot. You know, having plays like that be part of your offense and when you're trying to come back from behind, it's not a good sign. But just one more time. Again, if we're going to get Luke out here, I want the pick to be out here. This is a lot of space wasted, and we're clogging up this middle lane. Look, Luka's you can see it. Maybe you guys can't see it as well as I can. He's trying that same thing where he's looking away to Bullock like he did the last time, and then he's going to needle in a pass down here. It doesn't work the second time.
Shot clock is a factor in it for some.
That is a hell of a that is a great play by Finney. Literally one-handed catching a tip pass and just kicking out to Bullock. That was a hell of a play.
I remember and make change. Right tonight. Been aggressive since the
simple pick and roll. 2 guys in the corner.
start of this contest.
They're gonna shade Luka.
Aggressive since the start.
Again, this gets back to where I think now Luka's getting frustrated. So Usually I think Luka would like to try and wait, get the mismatch, see what they do, but understanding now that they're double teaming him, he's just going to go. He's just going to start going because he doesn't want that double team to set in. And Luka's great at looking away, I get that, but looking away doesn't really matter if the defense doesn't have to respect the shot or they have a plan for essentially running your guys off the three-point line.
Friday 10 and counting tonight. Cross court off the bounce. Luka finding Dinwiddie. It's no good for Jeff or for Josh.
Again, that's okay. That's not the worst. Still not a lot of creativity. The defense knows what they're doing. Your job is just to run and contest. That's a semi-open look, but still not the best look, and you still have 16 seconds on the shot clock. Remember, you can get a three anytime you want, and getting a semi-contested three up with 16 seconds to go, again, it feels like desperation. It feels like frustration. Like, if we can just get any other look, essentially, we got to get it up because it's the best looks we're getting, is what it feels like to me.
12 points respectively. Only 5 points in the first half combined. 3 for Wood, 2 for Hardaway.
Little down pick for Hardaway. Set a pick over here.
Points respectively.
Can only go forward. See if they can get something going.
Highland.
Okay.
Coach John seconds at the end of the first.
No question.
Well, that's the difference in the game right now. The taking Luka's three away and John Char getting one.
Better. Even though this still is not a lot of creativity, this is still just, again, if the most creative thing you can do is get Luka the ball on the block extended, then like you're really struggling for some offensive play sets.
5-point Denver lead. Going to work. Luka.
I was just gonna say, Luka has that great little spin to the baseline he likes to do, but again, guys are gonna pick up on your tendencies, and Luka falls down so much, and a lot of times I understand it's warranted. He's going to the hole and whatnot, but
First round block. 5-point Denver lead. Going to work. Luka first.
he kind of gets hit after the play. You're not going to get that call, right? Most of the time, you're just not going to get that call. In terms of the guy just got a clean block on you, you have to play through that, unfortunately.
Block to shot. 5 on 4 right now. Luka got
I mean, that was a clean block, right? And maybe he did kind of accidentally slap Luka in the face or hit him in the face afterwards, but you just have to understand that's a call that you're not usually going to get.
Plays so hard.
That's what made him a good fit when he
After it all the time.
So Dinwiddie brings it up.
That's what made him a good fit when he was in Brooklyn.
I agree.
That's decent ball movement to get Luka the ball. This is okay.
Close up for Luka. Luka using his strength that time. Body off Brown. Kicked out to bucket. Smith missed the corner three, but a tap out rebound to Wood. And then it's Luka.
See, there you go. That's good. I'm okay with that. That was good heads up play by Wood and Luka. Luka kept his man pinned down here. Finney's got to hit that three. That looked like that three was pretty open, so that's unfortunate.
Yes, 2. Brown. Oh, a little miscue by Dallas. Dinwiddie.
See,
Got an elbow to the nose there.
he didn't even really get him.
He's so frustrated with not getting towards the issue.
A double, immediate double. Like, oh man, this is... You have to understand, like, I bring this example up a lot, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but this is why I think Carlisle is such a better X's and O's coach than Kidd. As much as people like to say, well, just get the ball to Dirk, that was easy for Carlisle. I mean, go back and watch the offense that we ran. I mean, I think Dallas was almost like top 5, top 8, top 10 in field goal efficiency or field goal percentage like year in, year out with Dirk because we played off of Dirk as well as playing through Dirk. And I think Kidd is just simply playing through Luka. He's just hoping Luka makes the right play, but no one else is doing anything to play off of Luka, right? And this is what I mean by breaking a double team. You're just hoping Luka breaks the double team, makes the right pass, but then there's just nothing after that. And with Carlisle and Dirk, I mean, it was almost like pick your poison kind of thing. Like, Okay, we know they are going to double Dirk, right? Carlisle was ready for it, and everyone knew where the pass was going. Everyone knew where to be in order to make the defense pay. I don't get that feeling with Kidd. This is also another little point here. So because no one really has a job or a duty, in terms of my opinion, with Kidd and the offense they're running, no one really has a responsibility. It's just stand on the wing and then drive and kick if the three is not there, or get it back to Luka. You get confusion on the offensive end, which should almost never happen. Like, your offensive guys should never be confused in a way, right? It's almost like getting an offsides penalty on offense. Like, the snap count. There's no reason to get an offsides, right? I understand things happen and mistakes happen, but, there's no reason for guys not to know where to be on offense. And because of that, a lot of times you allow the defense to get away with stuff, or you give them opportunities in terms of you're not creating enough space. You have two guys standing in the same area in which one guy can guard, giving the defense an advantage. So no one really knows what to do here. Wood's calling for the ball, not there. Okay, I'll set a pick. Tim Hardaway, come set a pick. No, not that. That's not what we're doing. Okay, we're going to get it to Wood. Do you understand? Like, it's not so much we're doing the wrong play call here, but no one knows really what they're supposed to do. Luka is literally having to be coach, facilitator, and playmaker 24/7. I don't like that. I've never been a fan. Now, every once in a while, you got to mix it up. You got to give them different looks. But when you got number 11 on Christian Wood, it should be back to the basket, and we are bully balling our way to the hole, in my opinion. Or you should at least be getting something better than a 15 to 18 footer in that situation. I understand Wood can hit that shot, but again, making the defense pay, taking advantage of mismatches, you have to make the defense think and react and adjust to what you're doing. And so by simply just shooting a little turnaround there, you didn't really, fully take advantage of the opportunity given to you.
Gotta be alert here. 2.2.
I like Mavericks saying that.
And Tyler, new baseline, and the shot is away. It's on. It's a Dallas opportunity. Let off for Dallas. That finally, multiple opportunities, and it's a let off for Dallas that Denver doesn't cash in. Luka, bulldozer to the paint. Kick out. Yes.
That's really frustrating for Luka. I mean, as much as I'm gonna keep harping on Luka and things he can do better. Your guys got to hit shots for you.
Good. To the paint.
And again, this is another one of those things where I think Luka understands they're focusing on him. So anytime he can just get it and go. Again, this is not good. This is frustration on his part, and understandably so. But this is just one of those things, like the pick and roll. Like, if I come around that edge and the double's not there, I'm just going to go because I can see it coming. And same thing this time. I'm just going to get it and go.
Doesn't cash in. Luka, bulldozer to the paint. Kick out. Yes. Hardaway, the defensive losing go in the third quarter. Field legend to 100 town in his time with. He made over 200
in the second. I just feel like he's one of those 0 for 7 for Hardaway Jr. Again, I just feel like he's one of those guys that you have to get shots for to keep his confidence up.
That was a little. I like what they were trying to do there, though, even though they didn't execute very good.
Second half, right now, 0 for 7 for Hardaway Jr. Again, I just feel like he's one of those guys that you have to get shots for.
over 200
in the second half. I feel like he's one.
They try to set. This is. Again, like, why, I'm not sure what's supposed to happen here. Luke is just going to stand here. Nothing happens. Sometimes, I don't know. That just makes no sense to me.
To keep his confidence up.
That's actually on Luka, if I had to be honest with you. Again, man, this is just so horrible. Why is Finney Smith cutting backdoor along the baseline, bringing this defender with him, you know, when the play is here to Wood on the block and in the post. What are we doing? Like, what is this? I don't understand this. He is bringing another defender to Wood. He's just going to go stand in the corner, which no one can get him the ball there, instead of just staying out here. Now, the reason why I said that's Luka's fault, and then I kind of changed my mind, you know, the pass should be here to the open side, almost like this Wood's left hand here, the kind of the backside hand. But now he can't make that pass because number 9 is right here. And so he tries to just kind of get it to Wood in the middle of his chest, but the defender's able to get a hand on it. And so the reason we can't get Wood a good pass here is because Finney Smith is bringing, I don't know, this is again Kidd or Finney Smith or what. This is frustrating. Like, this just is just irritating as all get out because we're trying something different. Wood has, we get Wood, he would have had the ball like right here with the drop step opportunity to probably get a layup. And instead, Luka sees this man, right? This guy's going to stay around Wood, so now he can't make the sort of the back shoulder throw, the lob pass, the into, you know, Wood's left side, a little more into the middle of the lane where he would have got a clean pass because Finney Smith brought his man here. He's just going to pick his pocket if he throws it right here. Man, that's frustrating, man. I was going to say that's on Luka. Luka still shouldn't have thrown it in, or maybe Wood should have sealed his man a little better, but whew, that one's really frustrating.
Forces a turnover.
Really played with a lot of energy and confidence.
And another turnover. Reed takes it away from Christian.
Keep his confidence up.
To steal for Denver. Front by 8.
Team is really played with a lot of energy.
You know, again, this goes back, it's little things that people maybe think, you know, I'm being obsessing over.
Keep his confidence up.
It's a steal for Denver. It's in front by 8.
Again, coming off a pick, whether it's a handoff or off ball or whatever, Green needs to be coming right off of Wood's shoulder, right off of his hip. He needs to be coming right off his butt, however you want to put it, right? And Wood kind of does a little handoff and kind of backs away there for a second. You're creating that opening for the defender. Instead, Green should be coming shoulder to shoulder with Wood and taking that angle and going to the basket. And instead, this is just like little things. Instead, he's kind of getting it, and he's look how much space of a difference that is. He's still running along the three-point line. At this point, he should almost be totally around Wood if he's coming off that pick right. Look how much he flares out. Do you understand? He should already be on this guy's right shoulder, essentially. He should have already come and turned around and cut on Wood, and he should almost be on this. The big man here on the switch should be on Green's hip, essentially. And again, Green going to the hole with the head of steam, that's another dribble or step, and Green's by him for a layup. Instead, look how much space and how much he flares out. And he's giving us, this guy's probably pretty quick. I'm just going to, educated guess, right? A tiny guy in the NBA is probably as quick as they come. That's cookies all day. And maybe you could say a foul there. He went across his body or whatever. But again, it's not doing the little things. Look at this space. Green needs to be coming right off of his shoulder. Right now, he should be coming around the corner. He should have this defender on his hip, on his right hip, going to the hole. Look at that. What is the point of setting a pick if you're going to do that? I don't understand. Man, these are the little things that just irritate me to death when you watch film. Hound Luka full court, I would too. Just go, right? We're not running an offense anyways, right? We're not really running anything. Just go. Why do I care?
Here's a drive by Luka, and he'll shoot 2. And the Mavericks.
See, this is like understandable frustration from a player like Luka. Again, he's just going to bring it down the court and go. I mean, screw the pick and roll. I'm just going to get doubled on the pick and roll anyways. I might as well just go one-on-one the length of the floor, right? Which is not good offense, but it's about the best we can do.
The same as the series. Yep. Stops the bleed. Target steal. Intercepts a pass.
Oh, we got Bertans, the flamethrower, coming up.
Lead jumped to 10 points. Luka steal. Intercepts a pass by John. Luka's got Bertans right on the floor with him. On target pass. Give it go. Back to Wood. Scores.
That's nice. That's very nice. Having good passing big men is nice. You know, I don't know if you technically call Bertans a big man. I guess he's a bigger man. But that was nice. Again, transition, you know, sometimes you just get lucky that the defense is having to recover so fast. You know, good pump fake by Bertans.
On target pass. Give it go. Luka's got Bertans right on the floor with him. On target pass. Give it go. Back to Wood.
That's good. That's good. Nothing really to break down there. That's just good heads-up basketball.
Easy bucket.
Give it go. Give it go. Char has 4 fouls now.
There's a chance to really finish strong here. That's 5 fouls, I believe, so that's free throws.
Yes, even though that was a rip-through move, is indicated.
And look, Luka's already smiling at Bertans just because he's, you know, I'm gonna have to eat my words, and I'm gonna have a lot of egg on my face if Bertans comes in and he starts being our best player off the bench minus Wood, right? Or at least between like Bullock, Finney-Smith, and Tim Hardaway, which essentially all those guys are kind of the same player in many ways, except for maybe the defensive end. You know, those other 3 guys are maybe a little better. Although Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bertans might be the same. But if Bertans is going to come in, he's going to do stuff like that. He's going to hit threes. I'm going to have to eat my words really hard, and I don't want to do that. And I don't think I should have to do that. You know, Bertans is a nice player. If he's like your 8th, 9th guy off the bench, you know, and he's being paid what he should be paid, then Bertans is a nice little asset. But for what we're paying him, the minutes we're getting, and what he does, like, it's a bad situation for us. So if I'm going to have to end up eating my words where Bertans is going to be one of our more valuable offensive guys for what he's getting paid, and considering all he is like a spot-up 3 shooter, you know, not even a 3-and-D guy, he's just a 3 guy, that's not good for the Mavs. That's not a good sign. But again, at this point, I'll take anyone who can produce.
By the free throw game. Where Dallas chalked on. Percent. Dallas has scored 5 straight.
They may try to take off to the rim. I think players realize they make that call 90% of the time when guys getting ready to shot fake and try to take off to the rim. I think players realize.
Okay, just a quick trigger by Luka there. So, you know, that's what he does. Again, I looked up Luka's 3-point percentage. It's 29%, essentially a shade under 29%. You know, again, Luka shooting, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 threes a game. I don't like. I don't like that. I think he needs to be keeping his threes to 6 or less, essentially. I'd like him more around the 5 area, 5 threes a game. But, you know, again, when we're struggling like we are to produce offense, I kind of can't blame Luka for doing anything.
Yeah, bounty bones.
He leads Denver with 16 points in the game. Stop.
Pick and roll, everyone standing around.
8-0 run. That's a crit back to within 2. Luka rising and down.
Is that Aaron Gordon? Aaron Gordon's an athletic guy, you know. Aaron Gordon's probably about as good of a defensive matchup as you can get in terms of guarding Luka. He's about the same size, right? Maybe an inch taller even, he looks like. He's long, he's athletic, he's quicker, he's got a bigger vertical. He might even be a little stronger, even though Luka probably can use his body better than Gordon. But, you know, Gordon's about as good of a defensive matchup, I would think, that you can put on Luka in terms of an agile big man. And so, you know, that was just a good play by Gordon there.
Stop Dallas's.
Again, I would shade Bertans a little more to the corner here.
Yeah, bouncy bones.
He leads Denver with 16 points.
I would shade Bertans a little more down here. I would like, this is an okay place for the pick, but again,
he leads Denver with 16 points in the game.
This is what I was talking about. Was it? I think it was Orlando. Orlando was doing a good job of when they set picks. Right, they had a Wagner, and the other guard. I can't quite remember his name, but when they came off picks, they gave the threat like they were going to go to the hole, and they're quick, so you had to respect them. Luka is quick enough, at least, to respect him. I would have liked to have seen Luka here.
Denver with 16 points in the game.
Again, he gets the pick and he kind of steps back and he stutters. Luka needs to come and attack here and make Gordon do something, and then you have Wood rolling to the hole and or mismatch with this guy. And because he kind of stops, you know, again, there's just no pressure on the defense.
Run. That's a quick back to within 2. Luka rising and down. Block from behind. Brown picks up a loose ball.
That's just good defense. You know, I'm not sure what else to say about that. Again, this guy came and helped Luka and made Luka do, you know, kind of that Euro step a little bit to the side, which allowed Gordon to recover. And a guy as athletic as Gordon and as long as Gordon, giving him any kind of time to recover means he's probably going to recover. He's probably going to get back and be able to make a play. So that was just good defense. You know, Luka did have a bit of a layup there, so, you know, that's just kind of a tough one.
Did give up on the play. That's a good.
Make sure they.
But again, when he came around that pick, he should have went at Gordon. He should have came off the edge and went at Gordon. And Wood should have been able to seal, what is it, number 0 here? He should have been able to seal that guy and roll to the basket. And now we have something. I think we have a little bit of a better opportunity here going towards the basket.
He was the Mavericks defensive demonstrators here in the fourth quarter, keeping guys like out of the paint.
38 from 3, 50 from the field.
A little bit of a 3-man weave at the top. Nothing special. Simple switch by the defense. We're right back to where we started. And this is also, you know, unless you're running that 3-man weave to get some kind of mismatch or you're trying to set something up, okay, that makes sense. But between Hardaway Jr., Dinwiddie, and Bertans, and the fact that it's a very loose 3-man weave, no one is probably going to switch that far if you're running it out here with those 3 guys that far away from the basket. Again, it's just kind of pointless, right? Unless it's to do something else or there's some look here I'm not aware of, which I don't think there is. You know, it's just a lot of wasted movement by the offense. You can just swing the ball or just have Dinwiddie bring the ball up or flash up and get it. No switch. One switch. So Green gave the ball to Bertans. Hardaway is going to set a back pick here for Green. Hardaway is going to set a down screen here for Wood. That's just, again, spacing, right? Spacing. What is this? I don't understand. What is this? What is this? You're not even setting a pick. You're like, if you're going to set a pick. And this is, again, Green. Green can hesitate for a second, let Hardaway get right up on his man, and then go. Instead, again, it might not seem like a lot, right? Again, he should have waited a second. Green should have waited a second. Let Hardaway, look, he's already looking for the pick, so that's fine. But he should have let Hardaway get right up on him and then go. Instead, there's that space. Green does a much better job of running off Hardaway's shoulder, though. Hardaway's kind of setting a moving screen. We'll let it go. Maybe if you could rifle it in there, perhaps. Green probably should have came more of on a flat line, too, across here. Kind of sucking back into the lane allows this guy to get an angle on you. And see, again, look how this is just, man, setting picks I could talk about all day. Wood's already going. Hardaway has not even gotten close to his man, and Wood's already coming out. And if the play is to get Wood the ball, he needs to wait another second or two, let Hardaway get all the way down on this guy, and now Wood should be going. The switch, again, no switch. Or there was a switch, sorry. And look at this space. Again, if Wood comes right off his butt, he's able to seal number 0 a lot better. You're giving 0. Look how much room 0 has to operate. Wood has no idea where he is. Wood probably thinks he's on his backside. He probably thinks number 0. I don't know how many of you guys play ball, but there's so many times too when like your teammate's trying to set a pick on you and you just wait, and you two guys are just standing right there next to each other and you're just waiting and waiting, and like you're just waiting for the right moment to go, and then you go. I mean, I'd almost rather them do that. Just hang out in the corner for a second. I mean, really get up next to each other and then go, even if the defenders are all over them. And this is just this is just bad spacing and bad picks by the Mavs all around. This is back when I was saying, who was it? Bullock should have set a pick for Luka all the way out here. And so Wood doesn't go, or Wood goes too early, so this thing doesn't even really ever have a chance to develop. He should have waited. And Tim Hardaway Jr. should be setting a pick on it. Here's another thing too. Wood's a good shooter, right? So if this guy wants to sag off Wood that much, I would almost tell Tim Hardaway Jr. to come seal him and just kick it out to Wood for a 3. Instead, now there's a lot of space here. Hardaway's not set. Wood's coming. They see it the whole way. The switch happens. Wood comes around way too high, or at this point, you should just pop out, right? He comes around way too high. 0's got all the space in the world, and he's just going to time the pass. You know? Wood thinks that, see, in a perfect world or on a good pick, Wood would have had 0 on his backside, on his right shoulder here. That's where he thinks 0 is, because he's on this pick. But again, he comes around really big. 0 releases and switches. He's just hanging out playing safety, waiting for that ball to be thrown.
But I want the ball, so I'm getting it.
Of course. I know, right?
But I want the ball, so I'm getting it. Of course.
Again, like, there's no picks being set. As much as it looks like we're setting picks, we're not setting picks. We're kind of just moving around, really, is what we're doing. Look at this space. You know, it's just, I mean, what is this? And again, I think the Mavs, a lot of times they do this, or they set picks, they're not setting them correctly, and they're kind of hoping to get switches, or they're kind of hoping that, well, when I set this pick, I'm going to be able to roll or do this, that what we did in practice. That's not how it works in a game, you know. Defenders are going to see the spaces, jump on you like number 0 did. He's going to be able to sit back, use that space to his advantage, and then jump on you when they need to. That's Dinwiddie, baby. Exactly. He gets that. He gets this big man out here. He needs to go. That's what I like about Dinwiddie.
Come from the outside.
Foul has been called.
He's in attack. What he is.
And that across a 9-game window for the team at just over 20 points a game.
When you talk about guys needing to step up, he recognizes that.
Yes.
And he does a good job of stepping up when guys go down.
Green for 3. And it's on the money.
And to step up, he recognizes.
Through Denver, it's only played it for the team. Yes.
He does a good job of stepping.
You know, one thing that Wood does too, I've seen a lot, he'll get like a mismatch like this on. He needs to be fronting this guy. I don't know why he.
Stepping up when guys go down.
Good shot by Green. Again, that's not the greatest look, and if I'm a defense, I'll live with Green shooting threes, to be honest with you. Now, he's been very good this year, so that's good on him. He's been working on it. I heard about that in the offseason, so that's good to see it come to fruition. But again, this is not very complicated. Just a kick out. Green shot it, made it. Again, I think a little bit of frustration on our part. Green just thinking, like, I have a little bit of daylight. Let's go.
Green for three. They say 16 points. Take on Reed missed.
That opportunity they have it is that you heard from him on the mic, but we certainly heard from him on the floor.
Dallas missed 8 straight threes at one point in the third quarter.
Much better pick. I like McGee setting picks. I mean, you can tell night and day difference, him and Wood. I mean, again, Dinwiddie not giving McGee a lot to work with here. Also, Dinwiddie needs to come up and find that buffer zone or that space where his defenders, playing him, and then McGee needs to go set the pick. Let the offense and the defensive guy get set, and then you go. Like, coming right here and setting a pick, although he does a little bit better job.
8 straight.
And if you notice, McGee has to move a little bit. That's where you get in trouble and you get moving picks called on you. This should have waited one more second again.
At one point in the third quarter.
Now, McGee's a big dude, so he kind of had to go around him, but still.
Apparently, from him on the floor.
Dallas missed 8 straight threes at one point in the third quarter.
And if you notice, no switches happened. No switches happened.
Apparently, from him on the floor.
Dallas missed 8 straight threes at one.
Number 5 goes around, and look, he's already back on Dinwiddie almost again, right? Had you waited just one more second and got this defender to suck in and McGee could really set a good pick, Dinwiddie would have came off this screen completely clean, and 5 would still be on the front side of McGee trying to fight around it. Instead, he kind of just has to step around it, and he's already back on Dinwiddie. Green doesn't get a body on Jordan. Not that I think it would have mattered because Jordan's already fading back for McGee.
Dallas missed 8
What would have been nice here,
straight threes at one.
Green came and set a pick on with right here. McGee almost kind of followed Dinwiddie a little bit, and Green set this pick on Jordan and came around here, and you might get a switch here because Jordan's going to get stuck whether to go over the top or underneath on McGee. But that's just my idea.
1 point in the third quarter, Luka hit one, and then Green just hit one, and here's McGee. At 1 point in the third quarter, Luka. Dallas missed 8.
Now, again, this is like that difference between Luka coming off the edge of a pick and someone like Dinwiddie, right? Dinwiddie's going to make you respect his drive.
Straight threes at 1 point.
I still would have liked to seen him more or less wait a second, come off the butt of McGee even more, shoulder to shoulder, and come off that edge even more. He'd be even more open from number 5.
In the third quarter,
This is still a tough, Jordan probably doesn't need to help as much as he did
hit one.
because this is probably a bad miscue by Jordan. Dinwiddie's pretty covered. He's pretty well covered, to be honest with you.
Mic'd up. Missed 8 straight threes at 1 point in the third quarter.
There's really no reason for right here. Maybe he's got to respect it a little bit, and this is what frees up McGee.
Luka hit.
But he should already be falling back. 5 is already recovered. This is a bad miscue by Jordan. But again, Dinwiddie coming around that pick with some speed makes him respect him for that split second to get McGee open.
One, and then Green just hit one. I can sit up, and it's not, as long as you're right now.
He tied JaVale up.
Straight up ball. Great young talent.
Dinwiddie over to Josh Green. You betcha, baby.
I can live with that.
He tied JaVale up.
And what's funny is a lot of times we set a pick and roll and then it's just everyone stops and it's ISO or something like that. At least here we set a pick. We just keep setting picks. That's at least better than what we usually do. I also like Bertans coming off, just running around. He just seems to have a lot more energy. Like, he just seems to understand as a shooter he's got to get open and run. Some of the other guys don't seem to really understand that. And that's just kind of a shooter's mentality, I guess. Hardaway going to set a pick.
Straight up ball.
Switch. Little confusion here, but it works out.
Great young count.
Dinwiddie over to drop.
Again, that's probably them saying leave Green open, and Green makes them pay, I feel like.
Green.
Green only missed 1 3, so
Pick up his dribble.
Green had a good shooting night.
Hardaway Hardaway steals the ball. This is a chance for Dallas to go. But Hardaway missed the layup. Gonna stop
Pain. Pain.
here. You're gonna foul out front. Word every year drafted. I mean, this dude. There.
Yeah, that was a bad shot. All of the good stuff he's done.
Bertans waiting for help. Hardaway
Hit one.
straight on three. Off target. Bertans.
I don't know. You know, one thing about Bullock and Finney Smith, like, I can understand their shot selection. Usually they just shoot threes that get kicked out to them, fine, whatever. Hardaway Jr.'s shot selection is very questionable sometimes. You know, in terms of being, you know, one of our guards out there right now, sometimes he just takes very inopportune shots, you know, bad shot selection overall sometimes. You know, I don't know. Hardaway Jr. just seems very out of rhythm so far.
Waiting for help.
Look at this, you know, like, I don't like this. This is not a good shot.
Hardaway straight on three. Off.
And I think Derek Harper there was right. I think Hardaway's just struggling. He wants to see one go in.
Target. Will Pope eluding it. Under 8 minutes to play.
Oh my God! Actually set a pick.
Under 8 minutes.
Wait 1 more second. That's all you have to do is just wait 1 more second. Like, if I had someone like McGee setting a pick for me, I'm trying to use this entire frame to my advantage, right? McGee and, you know, Jordan, but even more so McGee, especially for our team, is the biggest body on the floor. You want to let him get established and put that wall up for the pick.
Minutes to play.
And see, this is what I mean. You have to go off his shoulder. You have to run off his hip. You know, you're already going. He's not set. There's a lot of space here. It's making you flare out a little more. It's easier for 11 to recover.
Dallas has had 2 trips down the floor to take the lead. On the 3rd trip, it gets done.
Good shot by Dinwiddie, but not a good setup of the pick. Again, Dinwiddie, that's what I'm saying. Dinwiddie is very aggressive. He's very quick and very fast, so he can make up for mistakes like that with his athleticism, and he should. He should be coming around this pick full speed. But again, even then, the reason why it matters
Under 8 minutes to play.
is had he been able to come off McGee's hip right here, right? And again, Jordan's going to still do what he does. Nothing's going to change there. 11 is even going to be more behind Dinwiddie. And this is a difficult pass for him to see because Dinwiddie's going to beat Jordan, right? He just is. This guy has to come and pick up McGee.
Dallas has had
And again, this is just good driving by Dinwiddie. I still don't like the pick and not giving McGee 1 more second to get
2
set.
trips down the floor to take the lead.
But again, Dinwiddie gets this mismatch on bigs. I mean, he almost seems like he's like 90% on his field goals when he goes to the hole on these mismatches. He's got to be shooting an unbelievably good clip.
On the 3rd trip, snowball makes.
So Mavs are up by 1 now.
19. Josh was lead.
But again, if you've noticed from that first play we watched in the opening of the 3rd quarter, I haven't seen anything close to that. Nothing close to that since then. No off ball. I mean, I guess one other time they did. But again, no off ball picks, no off ball movement, no back screens, down picks, backdoor cuts. There's just nothing here. And what sucks is that the few times that we've tried to get guys other looks or we've done other things, Luka off the ball, getting it block extended, the couple times that we tried to run that play where we hand it off here and we have Luka coming around, there have been good looks there. Now, I don't like our spacing is still horrible, but it's been better than just running pick and roll till the cows come home. And, it's just frustrating because this team, like when you throw in guys like McGee and Green and Bertans and Dinwiddie with, again, I understand people are hating on our roster construction right now. There's a lot here to work with, in my opinion. There's plenty here to work with in terms of if you use guys the right way, there's plenty here. There's plenty here to work with as a coach to do some things. But since then, it's just been all pick and roll or double pick and roll at the top of the key. It's just nothing that special. And what was I about to say? Oh yeah, I don't get the rest time and minute usage by Luka either. Luka needs to be coming in with 9 or 8 minutes to go in the fourth. If you can at least rest him in the third a little bit, or if you have to sit him at the start of the fourth, that's fine. But Kid's roster management lately has been very sus.
And Bones Highland is knocking on the door at his season high. He's got 25, his season best at 26. Let me in laser.
That's what he does. Great pick, or great pass by Dinwiddie here.
Now, Denver retakes the lead.
Remember earlier I said that would have been a difficult pass for Dinwiddie to make, especially Dinwiddie going with his left. Remember last time you came off the left and technically Bertans' defender rolled. Now we're doing the exact same thing, but we're going to Dinwiddie's right. That's something as a coach you should pick up on. Dinwiddie being a right-handed player, for him to come around that screen and make that cross-court one-handed pass with his right hand is possible. Much more possible than Dinwiddie coming over from his left, going to his left, and having to make that pass with his right or with his left hand. That's, as a coach, you should understand that too. Let's get Dinwiddie on the pick and roll going to his right with the shooter in the corner where he can make that pass, especially if this guy's going to have to come and help on McGee, which looks like he has so far. See, he's already sagging. Now again,
on the door, out of the timeout. Denver retakes the lead.
I would like to see McGee turn and set one more pick here. But I guess it's just not there. Dinwiddie's coming. See, McGee should be up here. McGee should be up here setting a pick. I trust McGee with his athleticism and how big he is. I mean, it's just 2-3 steps and he's going to be here.
Highland for 3 out of the timeout. Denver retakes the lead.
This is a useless pick. I don't understand why we're doing that. Maybe McGee's just kind of throwing a hip out there just to give Green some space. Again, wait for Green to get here. I know it might seem like not much and it doesn't really matter, but it will create more space when you're coming off the pick, and it will at least hesitate this defender for one more second trying to recover.
Bones Highland is knocking on the...
If McGee could have set this pick here and get Dinwiddie even more open going to the hole, I mean, the same kind of thing might have materialized because this guy would have had to drop in and help McGee, but Jordan would have had to come up even more if Dinwiddie came off this pick wide open. Jordan would probably be here already, or he'd be shaded over even more. And again, maybe the alley-oops there, which again you'll take layups over open threes, obviously.
Season high. He's got 25.
Again, a guy running at him, it was decent contest, right? Bertans just being who he is. He's gonna hit that.
So
You're just in the mindset of being ready to call it all the time.
well, sometimes like a lot of rule changes or points of emphasis. You overcall it.
You're just in the mindset of being ready to call it all the time.
Sometimes
Much better picks that time, in my opinion.
like a lot of rule changes or points of emphasis. You overcall it. Sometimes like...
You're just in the mindset of being ready to call it all the time.
Sometimes like a lot of rule changes or points of...
Mindset of being ready to call it all the time.
Sometimes like a lot...
I think Dinwiddie should have kept going here. He's got his defender beat. His defender's kind of running back to get the... I think the reason why he pulls up is because the defender's kind of running back at an angle to prevent the drive.
You're just in the mindset of being ready to
Again, Dinwiddie, this is why coming off that pick with some authority and urgency is important. He should be coming straight here. Jordan is going to have to pick him up, and here comes the big man just rolling down the lane. That's okay. I mean, he got an open look. And as he comes, if McGee comes down right, he's going to have to suck over, and that same kick out is there with Dinwiddie's right hand that he just made to Bertans a play or two before.
This is order on the mat. 74.
I was ready to pull him out.
Mike 4 tonight. Tie game at 89. Lucas is going to be back in soon, you would assume.
Wow. I thought Dinwiddie had a chance here.
Back in soon.
Better pick, I would say.
You would assume.
Dinwiddie should have. I think Dinwiddie should have taken one more dribble here.
89. Lucas going to be back in soon, you would assume.
Make this guy stay for one more second. And Green's probably got an even better open three look.
Josh Green over the defense. Now Dinwiddie. McGee comes out the screen. Deep in the shot clock now. Free throw attempt. The best one. Three free throw. Tie game at 89. Luka's going to be back in soon, you would assume. Josh Green over the defense. Now Dinwiddie.
So again, Dinwiddie should have came right off his hip, and he should have split this. If Jordan's going to come all the way out here to respect the drive or kind of shade because he's got to give you some room because he knows he can't guard Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie, again, if he would have come right off his hip, he could have split this right here, gone to the hole, and this is now an even tougher spot because, again, come to the hole, this guy has to pick up Dinwiddie, Jordan's retreating, and if he's smart enough, McGee can be trailing behind him or Finney's open for the three. Now, I know that's maybe tough for Dinwiddie, but someone like DeAndre Jordan, he's got to be able to beat him off the dribble. He probably, in my opinion, had he come right off McGee's butt there, he probably could have split that right in there and gone to the hole, seen what was there. Wow. Not the best offense, but we'll take it.
Free throw. And it's tied his career high. Never needed it. McGee another screen. Dinwiddie is right to kick.
That's literally what I just said last time. What should have happened? He splits it here. This is literally what I just said last time, except just Diddy going around the other side instead of McGee on this side. Gotta respect it. McGee was rolling. Again, run the Mavs off the three-point line.
There it is.
Green. Bisecting the lane on the drive and fouled.
I'm okay with that. Again, I've said anytime you can be aggressive going to the hole, I'll live with that over like a bad offensive shot. You know, even if it's a difficult layup, you know, you could get fouled. It's a little closer to the goal. It's an easier shot. It's a shorter rebound, you know, if the defense gets it, etc.
McGee another screen. Dinwiddie is right to kick.
There it is.
Green. Bisecting the lane.
But you can see that's all the Mavs offense is. Pick and roll, drive and kick. If it's not there, drive and kick. If it's not there, drive and kick.
Simply to the free throw line. He made the right move, putting it down. They tried to close out on him aggressively. He made the right move, putting it down.
Kind of weak, but I'll take it. He definitely hit him.
6 of 73.
Baylor Scott screen.
Pretty high. Luka took his spot.
Luka back in the game now. 5 minutes to go, tie game.
I guess Luka took his spot.
Luka's got the ball here.
Got the starting lineup on the floor right now. Open shot for Dinwiddie.
Man, that's tough. Good job by good job by that guy here getting in Dinwiddie's path. That's a good no call. Again, one more. I know this time it maybe doesn't matter, but again, wait one more split second. And that's how this is much more how picks should look coming off of a screen.
Got the starting lineup on the floor right now. Open shot for Dinwiddie.
That's okay. That was a little more creative than what we usually see. So a little different there. That's not bad in terms of getting an open three.
Good defense on Moans over there in the corner. Any possession where he ain't shooting, I'm happy.
13 of 16 Maverick games have been clutch games this year, with tonight adding to the list. Dinwiddie's going to drive it. He's been more successful doing that. He finds Luka, who sets himself for a corner three, but it's no good. Defending over to Bruce Brown. Defending over.
Good defense on Moans over there in the corner. Any possession where he ain't shooting, I'm happy.
13 of 16 Maverick games have been clutch games this year.
You know, I think Kidd likes to keep Powell so pinned down deep here because it opens the floor up for Luka. You know, I think at this point, though, with the way they double team Luka, you know, Powell is not available as like a safety valve if Luka gets doubled. And these guys are so far down that it's really this is where I think we struggle on these double teams sometimes is these guys are not readily available for a play or anything like that. And since they're not moving, the defense is not having to do much.
Adding to the list. Dinwiddie's going to drive it. He's been more successful doing that.
It's not bad, I guess.
Rebound good. Denver had the last basket. Under 4 minutes to go. Denver had the last basket. That's what tied it. Josh Green's about to come back in the game.
See, Luka doesn't come off picks. He's
Denver had the last basket. That's what tied it. Josh Green's about to come back in the game. Got a quick breather, and Luka just met in the game.
I like that. That was okay. Again, I guess what's so frustrating is although Luka makes a lot of plays like these are very difficult. They require a lot of timing and a great pass. And I know Luka's able to do that. But again, you should be looking at this from like an efficiency and playing the odds over the course of a game or a season. Those kind of plays are just not there all the time or not as easily or readily available.
Denver had the last basket. That's what tied it. Josh Green's about to come back in the game. Got a quick breather.
You know, that's a tough pass. 5 should have stayed here, and I would have said as a defense, again, I'd probably just go ahead and maybe shade toward Dinwiddie a little bit. Behind his head, finding Finney-Smith is a difficult pass. I just would have had, if I'm the defense, right? I'm not sure why 5 left for a second. Again, Luka looking him off. Luka looks him off for a split second. See that? Very nice by Luka. Boom. You gave him a little look off. See, this is what I mean. Like Luka's having to do everything. Luka's having to look off defenders just to get Powell open, etc. Good play by Powell.
That's what tied it. Josh Green's about to come back in the game. Got a quick breather.
That's just good. That's just good playmaking by Luka.
And he
Screen go. Man earning some clutch time.
Well, we've seen that happen in some other games this year. I think the Brooklyn home game.
Green going in.
Again, very predictable offense here. This has actually been. This game offensively has been a little better. That isn't saying much. It's been a little better than past games. A little better. In terms of other guys having the ball in their hands, you know, getting stuff going to the basket, running different play sets, a little more off-ball activity. But again, it's only been for like 2 or 3 plays, right? Which is just more than what we usually do. A lot of it, what I've seen is a lot of more of it's been just double picks up here, up at the top of the key instead of just a regular pick. You know. Look how much attention Luka gets, you know? Kids should be able to draw stuff up off of this. I would, again, if Luka's going to come here off a pick and he's going to get this much attention, Finney Smith should be shading a little closer and puts a little more pressure on this back guy, on the backside guy. You notice Powell is pinning this guy down, so that lob pass is there. The more these guys are spaced out, the better. Finney Smith should be more like right here. That makes this guy have to respect him a little more and gets a little more space for Dinwiddie or vice versa. Again, just run the Mavs off the three-point line. That's still a semi-contested three.
Dallas clinging to a 2-point lead at home, trying to finish off their second 5-game homestand.
Middle of the floor, wide open again on this double team. You have to know they're going to double Luka. I can't take this anymore, man. If Kid does not start flashing someone to the high post on this double team, we're going to struggle, man. It can even be Green right here. Boom, right there. Green should have cut. And/or give Green the ball right now, and he should immediately be driving. Attack the middle. What is this? You know what I mean? They're doubling Luka out here, and everyone's just standing around expecting Luka to beat the double team. What is this, right? What are we doing? Like, your best player's getting double teamed, and people are just standing around where he can't get to them. What is Kid thinking right now? Again, swinging the ball around the corner. The defense is now recovered. Again, kick it, not there, then drive and see what happens.
Spencer on the drive, pulls out, no.
Spencer's got to hit that, but, you know, now is where I'm really getting worried because a lot of what we've done in the fourth quarter has been without Luka and other people running the ball, and they're not playmakers, and we're not running creative things for like our secondary players, not named Luka and/or Dinwiddie attacking the basket. And I know Bertans and Green hit some shots tonight, and hopefully that continues along with Finney and Bullock picking it up. But again, this is that same look we see all the time from teams on Luka. I would like to see Green start to roll before this guy gets around him. So, like, right now, he should be starting to come down to prevent this guy from coming over to double Luka. He should be right here in front of him. You might get called for a moving pick, but if he does it right and he kind of opens up right as if he's rolling to the basket, they won't call you for a moving pick on that. It'll just look like you got in his way. He should have drop stepped. He should have opened up, keep this guy on his backside, and he's going to the middle. That buys Luka some time. And now if you get released right here by this guy, you're just a simple step away from this area of the floor here. What is this? What is this, man? Kid, what are you doing? This guy, Luka's getting doubled, 30 feet away from the basket, and what you've drawn up is just, yeah, Luka, like, do something. Do something, Luka. This is frustrating. As much as I think we've ran some better play sets this game, although I'm still not too pleased. It wasn't too creative, and we only did it a couple times. I would say the Mavs played better instinctive ball tonight from what I can see in the second half, which is not good. You shouldn't just be going off all instincts, but it's, getting shots up with 5 seconds to go. It's guys hitting threes, which is always nice, but they weren't exactly open, drawn up threes. What is this? I don't understand. Let's run a pick and roll, and okay, now they've doubled. What is everyone's responsibility? Nothing. Just stand here, and Luka will make something happen.
Stand at 4-1.
I mean, decent for Dinwiddie. Again, run them off the three.
Spencer on the drive, pulls up.
Dinwiddie's got to hit that. Maybe a travel there. That was a travel.
It's tipped by Highlands. Luka got raked to be right in front of us. No foul.
Again, this is kind of a broken play, but just good heads-up ball. And again, what even though this was not the standard double team and off the pick and roll, right? Essentially, you have 11 shading, and just imagine all those double team pick and rolls that they have run, right? Where they double Luka out here or out here, and all I keep saying is that the guy who sets the pick just needs to drop step to the center here. Don't go out to the wing. Don't pop out to the wing. Don't go run off in the corner, but just roll to the middle of the lane, right? Especially with someone like Powell. Look at this. This is what it would be. This is ultimately what it would be. Again, I know this is kind of off of a broken play, right? Everyone's kind of spread out. The ball got loose. Everyone's kind of recovering.
Now there's a handoff that's tipped by Highlands.
But this is largely like Powell just set the pick on 3, right? Imagine Powell set the pick right here. 11's coming to shade. All we need to do is roll to the center of the court.
Right in front of us. No foul.
It's wide open. And I know that's not one for one what I've pointed out before, but that largely is it. Again, they're going to come double Luke out here off these pick and rolls. If you're going to keep these guys in the corner, that's fine. Someone else on the opposite wing. The middle is wide open.
Right in front of us. No foul.
Confident in the play. Good hand by yeah, Luka with a nice bounce.
That middle of the floor is open every time on that double team. And someone like Powell's the perfect player to exploit it.
He wasn't quite square. Moving to his left made it a more difficult shot.
Quick shot by Highland. No good.
Again, I don't like having 2 guys up here with Luka. You're just bringing more defenders to Luka.
Quick shot by
Like I said, last time Dinwiddie was off on the side, Hardaway Jr. should be staying out here or out here. I don't like, I said this in the Clippers game, I don't like another guard coming to set a pick for Luka. It's too much speed outside of the 3-point lane to try and contain Luka or to make Luka have to hesitate for another second. And I know Luka's bigger than these guys, but you can't use that advantage out here 35 feet away from the basket. He has to start using that advantage down here within the 3-point line. So bringing another guard to set a pick, I don't like that. I want Powell or I want whoever the big man is guarding to come set a pick on Luka.
Highland. No good. Sitting on 20. Quick shot.
Now, imagine if Hardaway Jr. stays out here or comes over here even, right? And Powell comes to set this pick over here with DeAndre Jordan. This is going to be open again, just like that last play, even though it was a broken play. Powell is in just taking a simple drop step and a couple steps, and he's here, and the ball should be on the way. You know, because Tim Hardaway Jr. came over, you know, or it might have been Finney-Smith, sorry. You know, this guy can now kind of take this away, and he can still kind of play defense here too. Finney-Smith, sorry. So
Dallas moving the ball. Dinwiddie. Oh, he's hurt, grabbing his shoulder. And it's 5 on.
that's not good.
4. Oh, this does not look good at all.
Doctor going to basket.
4 right now. He's on 27 points. Dallas moving the ball. Dinwiddie on 4.
Down or something.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
What happened here?
Oh, man, you could see it there for just a second. Kind of had his arms straight when he was driving. It looked like it got kind of like it bumped up and might have came out of socket just a little bit.
Hell, yeah, he felt.
Look. Oh, right there. You can see it. Look, his left arm's going to be straight for just a second here. Straight right there. And then, so it's his arm is straight, and it looks like the guy gets another arm under his elbow. And, like, it comes up. Ugh. And you can see his shoulder. You can see his shoulder. Ooh, right there for a second. Probably not too serious, but that probably hurt. That's a rare injury in basketball.
A massive portion of the load down the stretch.
Again, I don't like a guard coming to set a pick for Luka.
Luka with Bruce Brown behind him. Over to Finney Smith. Porter closed out. Dodo drives it. Shots Green in the corner.
Was that the one that Green missed? Man, that's harsh. That's hard.
Now down. Here comes Green to screen.
So again, look, because Green's gonna roll here, 3 has to pick him up, which again, so we get Luka on a one-on-one. We'll live with that compared to being doubled out here.
Luka with it. Now Dallas trailing 98-97. It's Luka against Bruce Brown. Denver does have a foul again. Here's Luka. Gives it up. Finney Smith. Loose rebound. Brown digging after it. Both Titans got it. There's a
Luka might have traveled again there.
second different shot. Rebound. Brown blocks it down.
Let's look.
Bruce Brown. Denver does have a foul again. Here's
Yeah, Luka traveled twice in the last minute of the game.
Luka. Digging after it. Both defense.
Didn't get called. So as much as Luka complains about the refs,
Dallas needs three by no good. And Luka rebounds it. 6 seconds. The timeout is taken. A quick timeout will be taken.
looks like Luka wanted to go there. I would say I'd rather let Luka just take it only because I don't have any faith in Kid to draw anything up. What are you going to draw up, Kid? What are you going to draw up? What is Kid going to draw up? What have we seen that gives us any faith Kid's going to draw up something to get someone a good open look? Remember, we only need a bucket. We don't need a 3. So the entire half court is his oyster.
And a minute. That's, by the way,
The defense, like Luka, and going.
Instead, you get the defense in transition at least having to do something.
Be ready to shoot the basketball.
the kid is gone.
He did.
Well, you have to timeouts. Green and Bertans are out on the floor. Will win the game. And Luka to complete the group for Dallas. Needing to make a shot to win the game. Luka pops 3 and receives the inbounds pass. And he goes around Brown, and they do take the foul at 3.7.
They would do that in the
Again, with only 6 seconds to go, this is just being picky now, but
Luka pops complete ons.
with only 6 seconds to go, you know they have a foul to give. You kind of just have to. I would love to see them get something more like right here, or try to at least. Again, getting something way out here. If I'm the defender, again, you don't touch him until he starts to go. And if you're out here, that's another possible second or 2 wasted coming all the way out here.
He goes around Brown.
and he put it on the.
That's another, having to come all the way out here, that's another second or 2 until the defender's waiting to foul you, right? So the thing is that you're trying to entice the defender to foul you as soon as possible. And so by catching it out here, if I'm the defender, you want, even as Luka, you want to shoot a 35-footer. We can live with that, I suppose, right? But once you start going, then I'm going to foul you. So getting the ball all the way out here, having to turn around, that's theoretically another second and a half, 2 seconds off of the clock.
I'll tell you what.
3.7. Finney Smith got the ball into Luka, and here's Luka, a long 3.
I can draw that up. I mean, I can draw that up, right? Hey, Luka, cut up here and shoot a 40-footer.
Trying to get a shot back up, and Denver.
Frustrating. Again, that opening play of the third quarter, while I thought the spacing was not very good, certainly was a better wrinkle or different play set than what we've seen 99% of the time. So, I mean, that's the silver lining, I suppose. But, again, Kid just has nothing. And, again, I didn't see too many hard doubles on Luka, although there were a few there early and then a few late. And again, I think if you're a defense, right, you kind of pick your times to press Luka, keep him on his toes, or you kind of delay the double team, or you go immediately with the double team, or you kind of shade him, right? You can kind of give him different looks of the double. Until we start attacking the middle of the floor here on those double teams, and again, the guy with the big man needs to come set the pick. Nobody else. Everyone else needs to either run backdoor cuts or they need to be running some motion themselves off ball. But the guy with the big man or whoever the biggest, slowest mismatch is needs to come set the pick. And the guy who sets the pick simply just needs to come to the middle of the floor here. I mean, that's 90% of what we need to do. And what's so frustrating is it's such an easy adjustment. It's such an easy thing to see. And we haven't done it yet all season, really, like every time. And every time we have done it, right, every time the pass has come back to the middle of the floor, the defense has paid the price, or we've gotten a good look, or we've gotten fouled going to the basket, etc. So, or even when you get there, right, we're even getting more open threes off of that than just a drive and dish or what have you from Luka or from the secondary guy who drives and kicks. So, yeah, very frustrating. I'm again, this is a good team. I like a lot of people complaining about our roster construction. I'm not really sour on that. I think Bertans, Tim Hardaway, McGee, Green, Powell, and Maxey, they can all be traded maybe with some picks and a package for something. I'd like, Kyrie, I mentioned that video on him, but we need another ball handler and scorer is really what we need. And if we can package any number of those guys for that with some picks, I'm more than okay with that. One more thing is that I think picks in basketball as compared to something like football are not worth as much. I think really only the top 15 picks really could possibly be bona fide players who become big contributors in the NBA for the most part. And because it's such a tight league and guys can play till they're 35, I just don't think picks are as valuable in basketball as they are in something like football, where in football you can fill a hole on your team with your 4th, 5th round pick, right? You can find a guy who can fill a role for you. It's not really like that in basketball. I mean, really, there's only the cream of the crop for the most part. And then, the value of picks just fall off tremendously. And so being a playoff team, or at least I hope so, who knows now, shit, we might be a play-in team. I just don't think our picks on average are worth as much. So I don't mind giving up a pick or two, But man, this is getting frustrating. And Kidd, in my opinion, Kidd is the genesis of all this, and he's at the core of our struggles, in my opinion. Someone needs to get in his ear, and someone needs to tell him that the offense has got to change. The ball movement needs to change. Where Luka gets the ball needs to change. The way we're attacking double teams on Luka is the main thing that needs to change. And Kidd just doesn't seem to be adapting to it at all. You have such a great player in Luka. Really, it's really about letting the game come to you, even as Luka as a player and as Kidd as a coach. You get to roll the best player out on the floor almost every night. You should be able to make the defense play to that and then play off of that. And Kidd's not doing that. He's letting the defense dictate to us how Luka is going to play and what we have to do. And that's largely where we're struggling. We should be setting Luka up, and guys, again, I'll use the pick and roll example. They want to double Luka. It's coming. You should be setting everyone up in a way to where, okay, we know this is coming. Luka, this is where we want the pick. This is where we expect the double to happen. This is who we want setting the pick with this defender on him. When this happens, Powell, McGee, Wood, whoever is going to roll to the free throw line. They're going to roll to this area like where Bertans is standing right now. Somewhere in here, that's where we're going to attack every time they do this. And somehow I think Kidd thinks the best way to get around the double team is to just send a double pick out there, and he's just clogging up this area for Luka to operate and to get things open here. and he's bringing another speedy guy towards Luka on the pick, which is much to Luka's detriment. That's a disadvantage. Again, speedy, quick guys 30 feet away from the floor on Luka is how I would guard Luka. You get in his way, you make him hesitate, make him run time off the shot clock. You get him to shoot, stay in front of him. You get him to shoot some step back three, which you can live with. And Kid is not adjusting to it. And I'm losing as much as I love, obviously Mavs are my team. I don't have any faith in Jason Kidd to adjust. I just don't. And I know it's a long video, 2 hours, and if you stayed this far, I appreciate it. But that's just my take. Kid is not the guy for the job, and he's not using Luka correctly. He's not using our pieces correctly. He's not adjusting. He has no creativity on offense. And that's just where I'm going to leave it. And until I see something different, I don't know what is going to change. I don't know what we possibly could do. Until Kid starts attacking, playing off of the defense, which again, this is what I'm saying. We have the best player 99% of the time when we roll out the ball onto the court. You already have the first step. You already have the first advantage in terms of, the other team is going to be playing to that strength. The other team is going to be focused on that. And that's where I miss Carlisle, is that Carlisle knew with Dirk, okay, they're going to have to respect Dirk. They're going to have to come after Dirk. They're going to have to double Dirk. We need to get Dirk the ball here. People need to be here. When the defense does this, this is what happens. You understand? And with Kid, it's like he's just trying to ram a square peg into a round hole over and over. And he's just sort of saying, okay, Luka, here's the ball, go, do something, make a play, etc. And Luka's almost having to play 5-on-1 in a way. And, even if you were to say, well, Carlisle just gave Dirk the ball and that's what happened, Dirk also knew that with him and Carlisle, what was expected from the defense and what they were looking for. And the amount of teams that we beat in that 2011 finals run, right? That was not all Dirk. That was a team beating better teams than them. That was the collection of parts beating better players on the other side of the floor in almost every series besides maybe the first series against Portland. We were definitely, I would say, outmatched with OKC. They probably had at that time what was thought to be the better player in Durant and Westbrook on the other side. We beat the Lakers. They had Kobe and Paul Gasol coming off the back-to-back championship. I know they weren't quite the same, but still, that's a formidable foe. And then we go and beat the new dream team, essentially the Miami Heat. That is coaching. That is getting guys in sets, in spots, and playing off of Dirk in ways that gets your team good looks. Kid cannot do that. I don't know what his deal is, but it's not as if Carlisle just rolled the ball out and said, okay, we're just going to get Dirk the ball right here, and then you guys figure it out. That's what it feels like Kid is doing. It feels like he's just saying, get Luka the ball. We're going to run a double screen at the top, why, for what? What is the point? What's the methodology we're going for? Oh, well, Luka will just make a play, and you guys figure it out. That's what it feels like he's doing, and it's just... That's not how you coach the X's and O's of basketball on offense. It's just not. It's ball movement. It's understanding where the weaknesses are. It's understanding the looks you're going for. It's understanding how to adjust and play off of what the defense is going to try and do, etc., right? And Kid seems as if he just wants to keep ramming down, our team's throat what we want to do. Sometimes it's not always what you want to do, but what the defense is giving to you. And especially in the NBA with the athletes that are there, when the opposite team feels like they have to double team your best player, in a way you have already won if you know how to exploit it. You have already won. And Kid doesn't seem as if it's like the other team is handing us a gift, an opportunity, and Kid's just saying like, no, I'm going to keep doing it this way. Instead of saying, okay, they're giving us this look. Here's what we're going to do to set people up to exploit it. And instead, it's like if you're playing, I know I use football metaphors a lot, but it's like if you have the best running back in the league and he's just racking up 150 yards a game or something crazy, right? And eventually by the third, fourth, fifth game of the season, the other team is just putting 9 men in the box and playing your receivers one-on-one. At some point, right, you have to go after that. You have to exploit that. You can still use your running back, right? First series, running back, up the middle. Okay, 3 and out or whatever, they're stacking the box. First play on the next series, play action, here we go. Do you understand? Like, you're still using your best player in a way to get your other players in positions to do things that they're good at. Receivers catch the ball. That's what their job is. Okay, if they're going to go one-on-one, we know what we're going to do. The cornerback doesn't know what routes you're going to run. You as a team should be able to play action or something else and get your guys open in spots to do other things to make plays. And it just seems like Kid is completely oblivious to trying to do that, and it's getting really frustrating. And this game was a little weird. I can't quite put my finger on it. But maybe it's just because we didn't run the singular pick and roll. We ran a double pick and roll, and teams weren't, I guess maybe Denver was not quite ready for that or hadn't seen that a lot. But again, they did the double on Luka a lot, and we didn't exploit it again. We had plenty of opportunities to do it. And again, even running the double pick and roll, what is the reason for that? What is the play behind the double pick and roll? Who are you doing that simply because you think it's going to cause some confusion at the top on the defensive end and something will be there? Or are you doing that because you have literally nothing else to draw up and this is your best adjustment is to go from a pick and roll to a double pick and roll? That's not going to cut it. That's not good enough. And I guess that's why I can't put my finger on it, is because I guess we saw some different looks tonight, but it was still the same sort of skin deep thought process, right? There really was not much to it. Kids just kind of saying, well, I have a bright idea. We won't run the pick and roll. We'll run a double pick and roll. And that's not good enough. That's not, that still is sort of, you're 6 one way, half a dozen the other. You're just kind of doing the same thing in a different way. You're still not making the defense pay. You're not exploiting. You're not attacking. You're not giving them different looks. Really, there's really not much difference of a pick and roll between a double pick and roll, especially 30 feet away from the basket. That's not making the defense worry or switch or change or think about anything. It's the same thing. You just think throwing another pickup at the top is going to do something. It's not going to work. That's not changing anything. That's probably why I can't put my finger on this, why this game felt weird, just because it wasn't the exact same look, but it was the same look, if that makes sense. So I don't know, guys. Kid needs to get called out, or he needs to give up the reins to someone else on the offensive play calling, or they need to call somebody and get somebody in here to draw up some offensive sets or some different looks, or find out a way to make the defense pay and attack them based upon what they're doing to Luka. But, I don't see anything that's going to change that. And the thing is, what's scary, right? This is the NBA. You have a whole team of assistants in a front office, and Kid who's played as long as he has. And I see again, what I've been talking about with attacking the middle in terms of this double team here, the fact that nobody is seeing the things that I see, not to call myself the Nostradamus of offensive basketball play sets, but the fact it seems like nobody is seeing this or is making some pretty simple adjustments after watching game after game and studying hours of game film and not understanding how to exploit this and take advantage of this and understand that when they come to double, they're handing you a gift. The defense is handing you a gift by coming to double Luka, right? We are now playing 4-on-5 with the rest of the other guys. And if you as a coach cannot get anything out of that, man, that does not bode well for not just Kid, but the entire staff and the entire front office. And I understand guys are not hitting threes right now, but again, we can draw up things to get layups. We can draw things to get stuff going to the hole. We can draw stuff to get 15-foot jump shots. Do you understand? Like, I understand guys aren't hitting threes. Okay, then you as a coach needs to say, instead of shooting so many threes, I want us to start rolling to the basket, or this guy needs to start cutting to the basket or the high post, or this is what we're looking for, etc. And, you know, even the threes that we're shooting, because we are so predictable, are not open looks. You know, it is not as if, again, usually a 3-point shot is something where it's like a good open three happens one of two ways usually. In transition, which is fine. I'm not a big fan of the 3 in transition, although if a guy is hot, if you got a sharpshooter on your team, he's got the green light, that's one thing. Right now, we don't have that guy. To be honest with you, the only guy I might give a green light to on the 3-point line is Bertans, which is sad. I'm not trying to say it's sad because Bertans can shoot, but the fact that that's who I would give the only green light to shoot a transition 3 right now, that's how horrible our offense is doing. The only other way you really get an open 3 is not so much that plays are drawn up for open 3s other than something like this, a last second kind of thing. Most of the time, the 3 is there because of spacing on a play call, and it's one of your options if it's there, if the defense gives it to you. And every once in a while, we get that a little bit. But since we just run the pick and roll, we're honestly just hoping the defense collapses enough that someone is open. And since we're so predictable, we're not getting those open looks. And since we're not running certain play calls, an open 3 is never really a part of the offense, even though we might get an open 3 every so often, as you just do within a game. You know, the 3-pointer is usually something like we are setting the pick and roll here, and, you know, this guy needs to do a backdoor cut or something else, and we're looking for him here if the pick and roll is not open. It's like a release valve almost kind of thing. If it's there, cool. If it's not, we bring it back out and run another play set, right? And there's just there's no rhythm to this offense. Nobody seems to be on the same page. Again, I see guys all the time. I'll set the pick. Oh, no, you don't want. Oh, you do want the pick, and sometimes 2 guys are running to set the pick at the same time. That, you know, no one really knows what's going on. No one is getting set. No one is going to a spot. Again, the spacing, that first play in the third quarter, the spacing is horrible. Nobody seems to understand what their responsibilities are and what we're looking for, because there's nothing to look for. It's just a pick and roll, drive and kick. I mean, that is literally our offense, the short and long of it, you know? And so my rant's over. This is just frustrating, to be honest. With such a great player like Luka, there are so many things you could do with him in terms of making the defense pay and take so much pressure off of Luka, right? That's another thing I meant to say about the Carlisle and Dirk situation is by having guys in the correct spots and understanding what everyone's responsibility was, Dirk's load just gets relieved in half, right? He goes from being the best offensive player on our team and responsible for running our offense to he can now be a facilitator. He can now score when he needs to. He can now look for his mismatch. He can now pass out of the double team. Do you understand? Like, because there is a methodology to what's going on, Dirk is now more just one of the system, one of the guys in the system. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, we want Dirk shooting the majority of our shots, and we're sort of running the offense through him. But his mental and physical load gets cut in half. You know, whatever, I'm just putting a number on it. Gets cut in half because he knows, okay, if I get doubled, easy. It's boom. You know, it's like that. And with Luka, there's nothing there for him to play off of. He's having to just beat the double team. He's having to jump up in the air and look guys away and make this crazy needle pass in the lane. He's having to think and do so much to make us produce anything. And that's kind of the difference I'm trying to point out with this offense. And I just use Dirk as an example because that's the other player I've watched the most and have paid attention to the most in terms of being a Mavs fan compared to Luka and what I saw then versus what I see now. It's just an easy comparison for me to draw with what I've seen and what I've watched the most. So, you know, it's just frustrating, man. I feel for Luka, man. He's getting frustrated, and I don't know how you change this. I mean, I think Kid is the biggest part of it, and it really sucks because I think Carlisle would run circles around teams with this offense and what we have right now. And I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. And I think the issue is guys, modern day players and egos don't really like guys like Carlisle because he is demanding. He is a little dry and a little coarse. And he expects you to be on your spot and do your job, and you can't just set a pick. You have to set a pick like this. You can't just cut. You have to cut like this, right? And it's all for reasons. Like, there are reasons to the methodology, but guys these days, I don't really think, they really rub the wrong way with coaches like that, and I think maybe that was part of the reason. And people blame him way too much for those losses to the Clippers. The Clippers were just a better team. They had the best player in Kawhi, who was balling out, and he did his thing. He guarded Luka, etc. But again, Carlisle, that offensive movement and the things he did with Dirk are night and day different compared to what we're seeing now with Kidd. And I still don't understand why Kidd thought, he was good last year. I don't remember him doing anything per se that was that good. He just ran the pick and roll more and more, but now it's getting to the point where guys aren't going to let Luka just beat us. Teams aren't going to let Luka just beat us. Maybe back, again, maybe in last year's playoffs, Luka proved to everyone, like, you can't let me sit here one-on-one and work you to death, because I will work you to death and I will win. That's no longer an option. Teams aren't going to do that. Luka has made his presence felt, as he should, and he's getting the respect that he deserves. Teams are going to make someone else beat them now. That's just the way it is. It's the running back example. This guy's averaging 150 yards a game. We have to stop him. That's now our thing. And then Kidd has nothing for us after that, and he should have something easily drawn up after that, and he doesn't. So that's my video. I appreciate y'all listening.